Hello there everyone and welcome to a new review on the channel. And today, similarly to my last review of The Gift by Angelo Carbone, we are looking at a very old effect that came out in around the 2016-2017 period, and that is The Code by Andy Nyman. But this is still something that is being produced and kind of being pushed back to market by some dealers, and it is fantastic. As you can see, my deck is fully battle worn because I've been using it for so long and so much. And I also have, I think, 4 more decks of these, 1 brand new and 3 of them that are basically used to the ground. They're basically fossils, but I still keep them around just to have them for some reason. But yeah, that is The Code by Andy Nyman, a brilliant effect that I absolutely love. And I think that a lot of people have loved and do love, but for those that don't know what this is, I think it's going to be of amazing interest for you to stick around and learn more about what The Code is, because it could be something that you're going to use professionally for a very long time. So let's roll the intro and get straight into it. Perfect, so you decide to stick around, which means you want to learn more about The Code. So what is The Code? The Code is essentially, in simple way, a marked deck that will allow you to do a bunch of mentalism effects. That's no sugarcoating it, that's pretty much what it is. Now I'm gonna do a very quick performance of this for you, but again, right, this can be done differently, and it won't play extremely well on camera because, well, the angles and whatever. But essentially you would introduce a deck of cards. You could have the spectator look through, see that all the cards are different. And then the main effect of this is you would give the deck to the spectator. They cut anywhere, so let's say they cut there. They're gonna take the card, they're gonna take a look at it. So take a look at that. I'm gonna let you look at it, perfect. So they're gonna have that, they can even place it in the box or whatever. And then you tell them, okay, I want to focus on the card that you have, okay? Focus on it. It's a red card. It's a red, it's also, think of diamond, heart, it's a heart. It's also, think if it's a number card from 1 to 10, from ace to 10 or jack, queen. You already committed, it's a number card from ace to 10. Now just look at me, ace, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10, 9, 8, 7, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10, 9, 8, 9, 10, 10, 9, 9, 10, 10, 9, 9. It's the 9 of hearts, right? Your card is the 9 of hearts that you looked at. They're going to say yes, but say, wait, before you take it out, did you by chance count how many cards you had in your hand? You didn't. 17. Can you count them out? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and the card was what? The 9 of hearts, and that is it. The 9 of hearts. Now that is the main routine that you're going to get and probably going to use with The Code, but there's a bunch of other stuff that you can do with it. For example, you can just do the simple here, just say stop, perfect, can you see that card, right? I know that was, for example, the 8 of spades, or you can do it again. You can do it with multiple spectators as well, so just say stop. Let's say they say stop here, can you take a look at that? Right, you're going to look at the card, and I know it's the 2 of clubs. So it has a bunch of features that are going to let you know what card a spectator is merely thinking of, or that they merely selected within a deck of cards. That's essentially what The Code will allow you to do. For 2 spectators, 3, however you want, it will allow you to do that. So knowing what The Code is, let's talk now about where you get this, how much does it cost, and what do you get. So you can buy this for sure at Theory 11. It is the major distributor of this deck, and they have it in stock at all times. However, there are some other stores that also have started putting this back out, such as Vanishing Ink or ALAKAZAM Magic have this in stock as well. So there are some other stores that are putting it out, but if you do want to make sure to get one, Theory 11 always have them in stock. There's also refills for this as well, which is something that I've bought a lot, right? You don't necessarily have to buy the whole thing again. You just have to buy the deck again. And I think that the deck is 15 USD if you want a new one. Just the deck, I think it's 15 USD. It's around 20 or so Canadian for a new deck of The Code if you just want to refresh and get a new one. Then let's talk about the price of the actual code, not a refresher of the deck. The actual price of the code is 30 USD, and what you get is you're going to get your deck, which is specially made, specially printed, and instructions with the one and own and the Nyman. The instructions are brilliant. He goes over everything that you need to know. It is chef's kiss. It is very, very good in terms of the instructions as well. And in terms of what you get, you are getting, as I said, the instructions, your deck. You're also going to get a box, but it's been so long that I've had this. This is like my, as I said, my 5th refill. So the box, I don't know where it is, but you're also going to be getting a box with your purchase. So having said all of this, what is the difficulty of the code? The code is relatively easy to perform. It's basically self-working. There's almost nothing you have to do. All the information is basically put to you in front of your eyes. So as long as your spectator can cut and you can just turn your head while they look at the card, you can do the effect. As long as you can riffle with your finger through the side of the deck to have someone peek at a card, you can do this effect. So as long as you can, even in the most simplest of form, as long as you can spread the cards like this and someone touches one, let's say they touch this one, right? I know it's the 5 of diamonds, right? So as long as you can just spread the cards or have a deck of cards in your hand and spread them, riffle them, or just cut them, you can achieve this effect. It is that easy to perform. It is pretty much self-working. In terms of practicality, how practical is this? It will require a deck of cards. So you'll just have to carry around this deck of cards for the performance, for the code specifically. Now, if this gets shuffled, you can put it back in order with no problem, and you can do effects even with the deck shuffled, because in the end of itself, yes, most of the principle work with the deck in a specific order, but if ever it gets shuffled, it is an ordinary marked deck. So you can still use any marked deck effect even with this shuffled. So you can do a few effects with it in stack, and then if someone starts to catch around, you tell them, shuffle the deck, and you can do other routines with it because it can still be used out of order. It doesn't have to always be used out of order. I always have mine in order, and then if I'm doing this in a parlor setting, at one point I'm just going to have the spectator shuffle them, and I'm going to use it as my normal deck of cards. So you can do your ambitious cards, your Monties, whatever with this deck as well. It is no problem. So in terms of practicality, you just need your deck to carry around. In terms of inspectability, it can't really be fully inspected. Your spectators are probably going to find the way that it works because it is marked in a lot of places. It is very well marked. And I've had one of my friends that I perform a lot for him, at one point he was like, can I take a look at this? Because I've performed this to him like 10 times and I kept fooling him. And then he was like, okay, like I know it uses some kind of special marking, right? Can I look at it? It took him around 3 to 5 minutes to find the markings because he's not really used to it. So none of the spectators are really going to have that much time to inspect the deck or whatever. And the moment you give it to them to shuffle, it kind of just takes the stuff out of the need of inspectability out of it, but it can be glanced at quickly, but not really inspected. In terms of table, it does not necessarily use a table at all. Most of the time I perform this standing up. In terms of angles, it is pretty much 360-degree angles for this effect as well. And the last few things that I can mention regarding practicality is also very practical that there is refills, which means that you can buy refills for this without having to spend the money for rebuying the entire effect again. Moving on now to where to perform. So where would you perform this effect? This effect works everywhere. I'm not going to waste time. You can do this on stage, parlor, close-up, Zoom. You can do this virtually. You can do this in person, walk around, table hopping, bar, wherever you want. You can do this effect. That's it. Now that I've said all that I have to say about the code, what are the positives and negatives? First, let's start with the negatives. What are the negatives of the code? The only negative of the code is that it is so good that you're eventually going to have to buy refills constantly because it is that good of an effect and that addicting to do. Yeah, so the only negative is that it's very good, so you're going to have to basically buy refills over and over because your decks are going to run out really, really quickly, just like mine, because of how much you're going to use this. That's the only negative that I have. Regarding positives, is the fact that the instructions are great. They're with Andy Nyman, so they're fantastic. The effects taught are great. The deck is incredibly well produced. It shuffles well, it handles well. The routines are great. It's easy to do. It can be pretty much performed anywhere. It's practical. It can be done in stack, out of stack. It does not matter. It's relatively easy to reset as well. It's pretty much self-explanatory how to reset it. There's a ton of routines that you can do as well with it. It doesn't just have to be mentalism. There's basically a ton of applications for this, and it is just very, very good. And that's all I have to say regarding the positives. So closing out this review, would I recommend the code and what do I give it out of 10? Would I recommend the code? And my answer to you is yes. I heavily recommend the code. It is absolutely fantastic. However, I do anticipate some of you are going to ask me, oh, but what about a code and the marksman deck? The marksman deck is heavily inspired by the code. They pretty much work the same way and do the same things, except the marksman deck has additional information on the back of the cards that are going to allow you to do even more effects. But the marksman deck is something I much prefer in parlorish settings or stage settings, whereas this is something I much prefer in walk around settings. So if you're someone that doesn't really perform parlor or sit down with spectators around you, I do think the code is better than the marksman deck for those performances. Even though the marksman deck can achieve those exact same things, I think that this is much more casual and easy to use because of some of the features, because this has the feature that was designed specifically to do this, which is the say stop, perfect, take a look at the card, and I know it's the 6 of hearts, right? It was designed specifically to achieve that, which is very good for table hopping and close-up scenarios. So I think this is better for that. So even though there's comparisons to be made here, I do think they each have their own positives, and I do think they're both fantastic. But I do think the code excels better in close-up, walk-around, whereas the marksman in more parlor settings. So that is to dispel that. But I still think this is great. It is worth a buy. It is fantastic. It is getting a 9.5 on 10 from me. I think it is a brilliant deck that you're going to love using if you so purchase it. So that's all I have to say. Thank you everyone so much for watching, liking, and subscribing. If you have any comments, leave them down below. If not, I'll see you all in the next one. Have a great one, and bye-bye.